You know things have gotten serious when it's a struggle to pick up the soap in the shower and the number on the bathroom scales reaches 3 digits. Oh, there's no escaping the fact that it's time to climb off the couch and look for a real physical challenge. One that'll motivate you to do some serious training. Something really big like the Great Cranleigh Kauri Run. Not the 13k, nor even the 32k. A real man-sized event for a man-sized fat problem. The Ultra, all 70 kilometres of it. And like any heroic adventure, the Kauri requires a teammate.
Please. Return?
Any ultra with its salt starts with an epic bus ride into the middle of nowhere.
Stop your train.
The Kauri Ultra is an exclusive race, limited to the number who can fit in the limousine, and it's first in, first served. And while the atmosphere begins full of bravado, the ride soon has the passengers wondering whether they'll ever make it to the start line.
Whoa! Do you know I'm going to need spare milk?
Having survived a worrying cliff-top ride, the day ends with an overnight stay miles from civilization, awaiting race start before first light.
Okay, so after a winter of pasta, it's finally race day. Gone from 100 kg down to 93 in 6 weeks, so I'm pretty pleased about that. And I'm a bit of a fan of the barefoot running, and so I'm going to give it a crack in the 5 fingers and see how we go.
Well, I'm just here because someone else entered me in the race. I had a knee operation 6 weeks ago, so I've got a backpack full of Voltarens, and hopefully they'll get me through.
So for long distance running, there's a few medical issues to take care of, and the other one which you don't need to watch. Excuse me.
Get her done, give her hell!
Good luck, man! There it goes!
The Kauri Run Ultra is a 70-kilometre slog through bush, stream and beach. From the tip of the Coromandel Peninsula at Fletcher's Bay, down the east coast and then over the divide before the drop down to Coromandel Township. By the time the sun's risen, the athletes have already spread themselves out, and Dennis DeMonchi has a lead over Kerry Suter and Dougie Kyle. This is the old bridle trail linking west with east. It begins with moderate climbs and breathtaking coastal views before disappearing into native bush.
How much further, Dad?
65k.
65k.
The New Zealand women's 100k champion Dawn Tuffery has begun at a steady clip.
We're about 5k in. Feeling pretty comfortable, taking it easy. It's a long day.
My knee's holding up fine so far. Don't tell the surgeon I'm out here thrashing his beautiful surgical work.
This is a good time, a chance to take in the views and the quiet of the bush, or to chat with other competitors, though you still need to watch your step.
Oh, don't take that photo.
What a great first 10Ks. Wish the whole thing was going to be like that. So doing what it's meant to do. If you can't see the top of the hill, you walk up it.
The race organisers break this race down into 3 stages, and that's a bit long for me, so I've broken it down into 8. Stage 2, the gravel road, I think it's about 8k.
but the elite runners take it all in their stride.
Just begun to live. White lace and promises.
Kerry Suter's grown wings and hit the lead, and that's despite having a buddy on board.
What I've got here is a buddy. It was buddy day yesterday and effectively an entire weekend. It's a initiative from the Child Matters organisation that are into the well-being of children. This buddy is one of 335 in the Waikato that represent just 20% of the confirmed cases of child abuse in the Waikato alone.
Kerry's plan is to piggyback his buddy for the whole 70k, while behind him Dennis DeMonchi's got his own backstory.
Missed a few hours sleep last night. Must have camped too close to the beach.
DeMonchi and Suter are old rivals from the ultra circuit, and they know each other's strengths and weaknesses.
Just wish Kerry would slow down. Hoping buddy on his back might tap him on the shoulder and say, just take it easy, Kerry. You're bouncing me around too much. Get onto the technical.
Jason Good from Whakatane has moved into third, and the light rain suiting Dawn Tuffery.
I'm walking up a hill. It's raining, but it's a lovely temperature. Shoes are going well, feeling good.
Five years ago, teaching in a school in a little town in Wales, and wasn't getting enough of the outdoors, so quit my job, bought a ticket to New Zealand, and 4 years later found myself on the start line of the Kauri Ultra for some reason. And one thing I've found in common between Kiwis and Irish is that they all think this is mental.
What makes this race so special is the Ark folk are planting a corridor of kauri trees from Waikawau Bay all the way into Coromandel town, and it just goes to show what a small group of people with a great idea can do in order to help restore the rape and pillage that has gone on around here.
Woke up this morning, people, I looked around for my shoes. You know I had them, you don't walk in
Great day.
For about 10 years, I ran with really sore knees, and I just put up with it. I would listen to all that rubbish about replacing your shoes every 3 months, and one day in anger I just took my shoes off and threw them away. My very next step was pain-free. I went on the internet, YouTube of course, learned how to run barefoot, and I came across Sky, and while I didn't learn a lot, I was totally motivated. For some obscure reason, her knowledge of barefoot running still makes perfect sense even if you turn the sound off.
And so we're about a 30k in already, and yeah, feel pretty good, other than the knee is starting to hurt a bit. So I've popped a Voltaren, and that usually takes pretty quick effect when you're exercising because the blood's flowing. So it's circulating pretty quick.
I'm gonna keep on walking till I find my way back home.
I'm not sure if I'm walking because the terrain is too technical or because it's too hilly, but either way I'm walking.
Whoa, look at the effort they've gone to. They've cleared the track.
This is turning out to be a typical Ark race. A 3-hour grind uphill and running off a cliff on the downhill. Stomach's beginning to go off. The farting is commencing.
Tough on the knee.
Meanwhile, the real athletes are leaving the bush and paddock and heading off for the beach at Waikawau. The halfway point's been passed, and Kerry Suter's extended his lead over Dennis DeMonchi to 10 minutes.
It's about
hard on the ankles.
Dawn Tuffery's making good progress in her first race post-baby as buses take runners to the start of the 32k event at Waikowau. The 32k competitors are already lining up on the beach as the ultra runners come through to their applause and the return of the rain. The Kauri Classic is the second half of the ultra, a sprint for some that begins with a bit of a swim. Then it's pretty much an uphill slog for the next 8k, with Kepler Challenge King Vajan Armstrong setting the pace. Taking his time early on is number 104 Darren Ashmore, followed by Ruby Muir, who's already well ahead of the second woman.
Thank you. This is a 9-year-old Kauri from the first Kauri Run. This is a corridor of these that the ARC guys have been planting every year since the Kauri Run started. And in 30 years' time, this is what they're going to look like. That's cool.
Some runners are doing the 13k crossing run that ends at White Star Station near Colville, while these runners will soon be joined by the demi-marathon competitors who have started at White Star and are completing just 21 kilometres. And just when they think they've got used to the uphill, it gets really steep. But upward they go, including 80-year-old Brian Smith, and in his wake, our heroes.
I was hoping for a Chariots of Fire run through the 32k starters, but we were about an hour late. So now we're on the 32k part, on the killer hill, just straight up, damn near vertical. And the body is beginning to pack in. What's going to happen from now is the total degradation and destruction of a human body. And what happens when you take on challenges that you're not really ready for. We've come out onto the tops. It's just blowing a gale. Horizontal rain, windy as hell, cold, freezing cold, and it's fantastic. This is how I like it.
There are special categories for walkers in the shorter distances, and many use this as a preparation for the Oxfam Trail Walker.
Yeah, the old Kauri Run's a fantastic way to be training for Trail Walker. It's about 10 times hillier than Trail Walker, so it's if you can get through this, then you've certainly got the hill portion of Trail Walker down. So well worthwhile spending the time doing it.
Come on, Mum. Stay still. Keep going. Doing well. Don't stop. Oh, hell, no. Come on, Tracy, you guys are doing awesome. We're training for the Oxfam.
Half a marathon to go.
But right now, my entire body wants to fold in half. It's really telling that I have a lack of core strength.
Not feeling too bad. A knee is hanging in there, thanks to 2 25mg Voltaren tablets. Stephen's struggling a little bit.
It's incomprehensible to me that we are still going uphill. It's what we've done for since 5:30 this morning. At some point we must hit the top of the world. Technical section, eh? Well, I technically know what they're talking about, but I've got 2 feet stuck in buckets of concrete right now, and they're not lifting particularly well. We're at the 60k mark, a bit over 62k, and they've saved the worst till last. Steep uphill, highly technical, complicated, and but I'm unbelievably feeling okay. I've had a very low 20 kilometers back there where I was just dead and could hardly stand up. Finally at the high point, 65k, and it's all been uphill. It's not false advertising, but I'm going to have to redo their elevation for this race. So now all the altitude we've built up over the last 65k, we're going to lose it in the next 2. We're basically abseiling without a rope down into Coromandel. Let gravity take us there.
By now, most competitors have made the descent and crossed the line. Vajan Armstrong has powered his way to win the classic event by 30 minutes, with Ruby Muir easily taking the women's prize. Kerry Suter carries his buddy to a new race record in the Ultra, finishing 50 minutes clear of Dennis DeMonchi.
The man's just too fast.
And Dawn Tuffery makes her final descent to win the women's Ultra by more than an hour. The runners stream and then trickle in, as do the walkers. At 80, Brian Smith arrives slightly battered but buoyant. And then the wait for the final stragglers begins.
So, on the home straight, even running again. Sort of. So, in summary, ultra marathons, they destroy the body. Any race in the Coromandel, any arc race, destroys the body. The Kauri Run, double the destruction on absolutely barely incapable of walking. I love doing these races, and for some reason I always want to do the absolute hardest one they have. And there's a very special moment coming up. Keith especially likes to pride himself that when they put on an event, the hardest race in that event is a real challenge. And to be fair, he's pretty surprised when we turn up. He thinks his challenges are beyond us. So that lovely moment where I get to give Keith that hug makes it all worth it.
You boys are pretty hard to follow though, really. No training, 70 Ks. Any bloody wonder it's taking you this long to get to the finish line. Like, we're ready to go home, honestly. We've been mucking around here for the last 3 hours.
Waiting for us?
Just waiting for you bastards to turn up. I think what you boys should seriously look at is when you look at the courses that we put on, go for the easiest one so you can get finished. Every time I see you guys on the start line, I shudder and think, here we go again. It's going to be another bloody midnight finish. We're going to miss tea. I think you guys should always take the easiest option of all the events.